What's up, guys? Welcome back to the VC Brewery Show. My name is Andres. On today's show, we have Eric and Michael from Casa Agria Specialty Ales in Oxnard, California. Listen to their story, how they already moved locations, how they started off not brewing on their own system, how they grew into their larger facility, and what their philosophy is about beer and sticking to what they know and what they started out with. Let me know what you think. Enjoy the show. Casa Agria Specialty Ales, Oxnard, California. Thanks for making time for me today. When did you guys open? This is technically a new location.
Yeah.
Unofficially grand opened.
Right. our post, I don't know if we can call post-COVID, but new opening, reopening, something or other. We had a suite. We started with this suite, was it 310? Just a few doors up from here. So this building's made up of several suites, large industrial space. And we found that space in, I want to say, February of 2015 is when we found the space, signed the lease, and got our LLC going. And that's officially when Casa became a real business. And so we chose here in Oxnard because at the time the partners kind of lived in different parts of the county.
Right.
This was centrally located.
Yeah.
It's also the largest county in Ventura. And there was less, there were no breweries here at the time, or I guess Red Tandem was just getting started.
Yeah.
But anyways, and this was also, a big agricultural center as well, and a lot of our beers kind of revolve around the use of as much local produce as we can find.
All right.
And stuff like that. So this Oxnard seemed like a really good location, and so that's why I originally started there. I think at the beginning, or at the end of 2015, the beginning of 2016, the adjacent space, so it was 1,300 square feet, and then the next space over, which is another 1,500 square feet, opened up, and we jumped on that because we were already running short on storage.
Right.
So the interesting thing about our startup being primarily at the beginning a mixed culture barrel aging brewery is we started brewing our first beer in June of 2015.
Okay.
And we didn't release a beer until December of 2015.
All right.
And so we were officially open, but did not open to the public for sales until the end of that year. So it's always a joke, when is our anniversary? Is it when we started brewing? Is it when we had our first release? Or was it when we actually had tasting room hours? So it's
what did you do from June to December? Just
brewing and barreling down and aging.
Yeah.
And then I think in October, November, we started bottling for the first time.
All right.
Before that December release.
Yeah.
Which was really exciting. And then also very nerve-wracking when we had our very first release. It was like, all right,
this is it.
First beer's going out into the world.
For sure.
But yeah, it was fun. I have fond memories now
Now that you look back on it, I'm sure it's a great time.
It was very stressful at the time.
That first year we were still working our other jobs.
Okay.
So it was, a 9 to 5 at a design firm in Ventura, and then getting here to the brewery at 6 o'clock at night, and then working past midnight, just to get this thing up and running.
Yeah, and weekends here as well.
Total startup fashion.
Yeah, very low capital.
Yeah. Brewery on a budget.
Yeah, well, you guys are here now, so...
Yeah, the original business model was to just open up once a month to sell some bottles, release bottles or do pickups, and then close down again. But after that first release, we also, so we had, at the time, Agria de la Casa, which was our house saison, which became Saison de la Casa. Then we had our first member beer, which was Guava Fresca, which is the Guava Saison. And then we had Del Norte Pale Ale, which was our first hoppy beer that we released. And we said, we're opening for this bottle release. Let's throw on a hoppy beer just so people can, drink something else.
For sure.
And it was the first time, our first beer ever. A lot of people don't know this. Our first non-sour beer was a hazy beer. And there's, in the past there's a lot of jumping on the haze bandwagon thing, but hazy beer is something that we've always been very excited about. There's always so many good West Coast options as far as hoppy beers locally and in Southern California. We wanted to be able to provide something new, a different option for people locally,
right? And
also is something we were excited about because it's the fermentation process of hazies. It produces a lot of esters, so it's a fermentation-driven profile similar to saisons and sour beers and stuff like that. And so it kind of fell in line with our what we were interested in terms of exploring beer.
So your original model of opening once a month, was that driven by? Did you guys have like a following already, a club, or?
Yeah. So when we first decided to start Casa Agria and the word was getting out, we're doing test batches on our homebrew system and sending them out and getting feedback from people. We got, I think it was like around 100, 150 emails asking if we were going to have a membership club.
Right.
And then that's when we looked at each other and said, yeah, we should probably have a membership club.
Right.
And then, yes.
I was very hesitant.
Yeah. And why is that?
Well, I guess my role as the head brewer, I just felt a lot of pressure to, people are putting out money ahead of time for beers, and so there'd be a certain expectation on the quality. So
it's like an artist thing, right? This is your craft, so you want to put out the best, and
I had never brewed commercially. None of us had ever brewed commercially, so we were just like relying on what we knew as home brewers, to translate, and that was intimidating.
Yeah, so that first weekend when we opened up sales to our membership, before we had even brewed commercially, I think we had like 400 people buy into our membership, which kind of blew me away. A lot of people, put a lot of faith in, giving us money, and crossing their fingers, going, I hope these guys, put out beer.
Deliver, right?
And then we got some flack. There were some people who were like, why are they opening up a membership when they hadn't brewed commercially yet? And
there's always going to be flack, right?
Yeah, and that's justifiable. And those people didn't buy into the membership, and I think those that did, we're happy because we started putting out some really good beer.
All right.
And we're 5 years into it. We still have a very strong, loyal group of members, and it's a big part of our business. Yeah.
How many original members
that are still with us?
I talked to Boom Hunt a couple weekends ago. He said he was on that list, or he was an original guy that would come.
Of the original, there's probably still about 150 that are still with us. And over the years, it's we'll lose half the membership, and then we gain that back with new members. And there's a lot of membership clubs out there now where there's a lot of really good breweries making good beers, and I think people kind of pick and choose what memberships they want each year.
For sure, yeah.
So, I guess to get back to the original question, sorry, kind of detailed.
No problem, man. It's all good.
We got that adjacent space, and we were there up until about a year ago now. We were out of our old spaces at the end of June of
July 1st, we had to have everything moved over.
But we had taken this space over about a year before that as just production and storage. The other interesting fact that we didn't cover is we didn't have our own brewing system.
Wow.
When we first started,
this came online
January, fully online.
2018?
No, 2019.
So until up to that point, we were brewing on Roger's system at Twisted Oak Tavern in Agoura Hills.
Wow.
The lab brewing. And then a little bit after that, about a year or so, we started brewing also on Ventura Coast's brewing system when they first got up and running.
All right.
And so then we were transporting the wort, unfermented beer, back to our facility to ferment.
How would you do that?
We had
U-Haul.
Yeah, renting a lot of U-Hauls and flatbed trucks from You Rent It.
All right.
And so from Twisted Oak Tavern, we had, I think they're like 450 gallon, 450 gallon, no, 250 gallon UBC, IBC plastic caged totes.
Yeah.
And so we'd fill 2 of those. We would knock out the work from his boil kettle all the way through his bar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And down the patio.
Cool.
Up into the U-Haul truck.
All right. Because you don't want to. Because you can't lift it once it's full.
No, yeah.
Right. And you drive down the grade.
Yeah.
And back into our space, and we hook up to a pump and put it in, hit it with oxygen on the way into the tank.
Yeah.
Then pitch our yeast, and there you go.
Wow.
At Ventura Coast, we were doing hoppy beard there mostly, and so we would use stainless steel totes. That way, there was no like exposure to ultraviolet. And oxygen, less oxygen, because of the effects that it would have on the hops. And so we'd just be able to push those out with pressure. And so that's how we started brewing. We were brewing for the first 2.5, 3 years until we got this up and running. So we got this space to become the production facility when it came open. And we did all the construction back here, installed all the tanks and everything, got up and running. It took a lot longer than we expected.
But at least you were able to observe 2 other spots and then say, we like this about this one, we don't like this about this one.
Right.
And then now you can just...
So that was it. That was also our training on how to brew in a professional system. Was, okay, they're going to train us on their system, so we know how to use this one.
Yeah.
Ventura Coast has a completely different system, so we trained on that one.
Yeah.
One steam, one fire kettle. And so then when it came time to buy what we wanted, we chose exactly what we wanted. And then we looked back to see what we could afford. So we made some compromises. We also had an issue with we put a deposit down on a brewing system, and the company declared bankruptcy, and so we lost all that money.
Wow.
That was hard to.
That's all part of the story, though.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. It's those are stories for around the table with some beers, like.
Right. Cool.
But yeah, then we got into this space. This tasting room opened in July of last year.
Yeah.
During COVID, and so we did have a nice off period to make the transition where we didn't have to shut down the tasting room because we couldn't open it anyways.
For sure.
And so we did a lot of this work during that period, and we did a lot of the work ourselves, like we did at the old space. But here it's just so much more light and so much more space than the old one.
Yep.
And
I was surprised when I came the first. I mean, I don't know how long it was from I had gone to that one to this one, but I went to that one first, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then now you guys are over here, so at least not that I saw, not a lot of fanfare on. Hey, we're opening a new spot now.
Yeah.
Or just organically, everyone came this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we still get people come in like, why'd you move? But people are a lot more comfortable here, and it shows through how many people are in the tasting room, how much longer they stay.
Yeah.
And come back because it is so light and bright. And
well, you guys tried to recreate that little barrel room you had in the back.
Right.
But like you said, a lot more light, a lot more. It's a lot more, less stuffy, a lot more space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you guys do sour beer, saison, and be traditional, call it, hazy lager, whatever, all that kind of stuff. How does that play into how you brew? System-wise, cleanliness. I know there's some you can't mix some things and
yeah. I mean, there's definitely when you're doing mixed culture beers and non-mixed culture beers, there needs to be some care taken to not contaminate. And this space is much easier to be careful because we have a little more area. Back in our old space, we were fermenting sour beers right next to non-sour beers.
Yeah.
And so...
Any interesting experiments happen by accident?
We never had any issues.
No.
We had separate parts for sour and non-sour. And so that's a big deal. And, you just good, cleaning habits and stuff like that. Knock on wood, no issues. And so now we're able to keep things much more separated.
Yeah.
And honestly, just because of the way the market's gone, we don't produce as much mixed culture beer as we used to.
Right.
Just the market has changed to more of the IPA and the more kettle sour stuff. And so we're hanging on to the program, but it's not what we rely on to.
Right. So when you say market, is it do you think the beer culture in general, or just your customers that come in here?
The beer culture, I think, in general.
As a whole, yeah. Most people who we came up with, that we're friends with, see that the fall off of the mixed culture stuff. There's just, and we did see an evolution of people. Regulars go from craft beer, they're hardcore sour guys that went into like barrel-aged stouts. And hazies, and then lagers, and then whiskey bourbon. So there's like this conveyor belt of.
Do you think it'll come back around? Do you think it's?
Oh yeah, I think. Well, to answer that question, I think you have more access to the kettle sours now. Because, like almost every brewery has done one or is doing it, and so. The customer now, I think, because that's what they see it in cans everywhere. You have access to it. That's what they want. Even before we started doing some kettle sours, people would come into us and go, "Oh, are you canning your sours? And do you have do you have kettle sours?" And we're like, "Oh, we only have mixed fermentation." And so I think it's a gateway. So people who have the kettle sours, they will stumble upon our mixed fermented stuff.
The price point is different between the
it's
kettle sours and
a lot more expensive,
and the barrel-aged beers. The barrel-aged beers are more expensive, and I think that's also a challenge to get past when people are used to, the less expensive kettle sour cans on the shelf versus, you pay the same price for one bottle of a mixed culture fruited sour than you would for a 4-pack of a kettle sour.
Yeah, but you also drink it different, right?
Right, but I think there's a lot of people getting into beer who don't know what a mixed culture barrel-aged beer is, and so they don't quite understand why it's so expensive. And it's like,
can you give the back of the envelope definition? What is that? What would you consider?
It's kind of akin to winemaking, where it involves a lot of patience and time to let the beers evolve the way they need to evolve before they're ready for consumption. And as new people get into craft beer, depending on how, I think a lot of people are discovering craft beer through different ways than they used to.
Okay.
And so right now it's like Mike said, the kettle sours, fruited kettle sours are widely available. You can find them everywhere. Now everybody's doing them. And at that price point, like, why is this bottle over here so expensive when it to a palate that hasn't experienced it yet is what's the difference?
Right. So they're getting into craft beer as a consumer, not as a home brewer.
Right.
Or so they're getting into what's on the shelf at the grocery store, or the specialty liquor store, whatever they're going to.
Whereas before, like when Mike and I got into beer and sour beer, you couldn't find sour beer. It wasn't available. We would be stoked to find a bottle of Cascade or a bottle of Russian River sour on the shelf at Ohio Beverage Company or something. And then you would pay the same price you can pay now, $20, $30.
$30 for $7.50.
But you would then be like, guys, what I got, and sharing it with everybody. And so that's where your first origination of sour beer experience was.
Right.
Now it's not that. It's going to Whole Foods, buying a 4-pack of some sort of, pureed, fruited kettle sour. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but the experience and story behind it is much different than when people originally got into sour. And so I think
and I think it's important.
That's what happened to mixed culture beer.
We're not poo-pooing kettle sours and things like that. I think some of the things people are doing with the kettle sour, with different adjuncts they're doing, are some of them are pretty amazing. Very creative. Where you're like you taste these things, like if it's a certain type of pie, and
Yeah.
you taste that beer and it tastes like that pie with the crust, and so people are doing some amazing things. We also started doing a version of it called Frutaletta that we fully ferment out the fruit. So it's a shelf stable product, but and we're kind of giving people what they want and doing a similar style of beer that's very approachable, that tastes amazing, but is at a lower price point as compared to our mixed fermented stuff. Yeah. And our hope is that they try those canned style of beers, and then they go, oh, you guys do this mixed fermented stuff. Tell me about that. And then
things come around.
Yeah.
I think it's a gateway. We got to get them in here.
Yeah.
We're seeing great reception from the lager program.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, we're seeing very wide spectrum of pastry stouts and crazy kettle sours to the simplest, most elegant beers with lagers.
Yeah.
And everything in between. And so it's a fun time to drink beer right now.
Yeah.
But we do think the mixed culture will come back. We're holding on to the program, and we're going to continue to package beer and offer it, albeit on smaller volumes than we used to. But it's something that we're still excited about.
Especially if you're guys are the only ones, I'm not sure if this is a true statement, only ones in the area who have, I guess, it's turnkey for you guys now. As turnkey as beer can be, you guys have the recipe down, the system down, and even if you have to make it a small part, you know how to ramp it up when it gets back, when it comes back around.
And it allows us to be a lot more picky about what actually comes out. We can start focusing on like the stuff that's exactly what represents us.
Right.
And so this beer is good to present.
Right.
Whereas in the past it'd be like, this beer tastes great. Maybe it needs more time or whatever.
Yeah.
But we got to pay the bills. We got to get it out.
Yeah. Right.
But now we're not relying on these beers, like I said earlier, to pay the bills. We have a hazy IPAs doing that, so we can really
the sour is still
our time.
the passion, but it's the other stuff pays the bills and it allows us to have your passion project.
Yeah. Plus, you got to keep the name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Unless we change it to Casa Agria.
I get this little
Lageria.
Yes, right. So what do we have? We have a beer here. What do we have?
This is a new release. It's called Rerubis. This is a interesting one. This is a blackberry raspberry mixed cultured saison, but it's second use raspberries and blackberries. So we did a member beer last year that was called Midnight Souls, blackberry raspberry, wonderful beer. And so this was the leftover fruit, and there's still a lot of great flavors left in that fruit when you pull off. So we just brewed a saison and transferred it, instead of into a tank or barrels to ferment. This went right onto the old fruit and just let that ferment.
Right.
And so we did one earlier this year called Second Stone, which was done on second use raspberry, apricots, and peaches.
All right.
Nectarines, apricots, and peaches. So it's all stone fruit beers. And so this is a raspberry blackberry version of that. And this is a very low ABV, hint of fruit flavor, tart, vinous.
Yeah, it picks up a nice barrel character.
Yeah, this I like tart. That's my palate, my go-to.
Not quite as funky as maybe the other saisons.
Yeah.
But it's fun and it keeps the project going.
Yeah.
And takes advantage. We're not dumping perfectly good fruit right away. Get a little something extra out of it. But it's like an echo of the previous beer that used the fruit. So that's kind of a fun story, especially if you're able to drink them side by side.
Yeah, it gets people started on that path, like you're saying, and then they can say, well, I want to try something a little funkier.
Yeah.
And then you have that stuff here, right?
Sure.
So, my favorite beer of yours is Casa Agria, the Mexican lager. Yeah. I make sure whenever you guys have that out, I come and pick it up. I do like probably more for the can art is the Oxnard. Yeah, a buddy of mine in a past life was a street artist, and I'm like, dude, this is like your work, and he's like, no, but I probably know the guy that did it, right? So, can art at your place is really good. Do you guys have someone on staff that does that, or is that a contract?
We have a excuse me, a graphic artist on retainer.
Yeah.
He's originally from Oxnard.
Yeah.
His name's Donnie Phillips, Kill Studio. I think right now he's living in Utah. He's kind of bounced around since we've been working with him. But he was very plugged into like the nardcore scene, and was in I think he was in one of the bands. He worked.
Another good label. The nardcore label is pretty good too.
Yeah, so I think he cut his teeth in the music industry, doing stuff for different bands, and then went out on his own. And we were lucky enough to get introduced to him early on. And because he was an Oxnard guy, he was like, yeah, I'd love to work with you guys.
For sure.
And the stuff he does is amazing. I think he works with a couple other breweries.
I'm not sure how much brewery work he's doing anymore. I think as our need for him has expanded, that he's kind of turned down some work. He still does. He's an independent graphic designer, so he's working for different artists. Like he's done some very well-known artists, like cover art, album work.
All right. Yeah.
And before he went on his own, actually, he was working for Warner Brothers. Warner Music. And so he's well connected, but he likes working with us. I guess we're probably a little easier going on him than less people to work through. Than he typically has to. But no, he's great, and he's a local guy, and he's a beautiful, brilliant artist.
Yeah.
Like you give him a simple concept or say, I don't have any clue where to take this. This is the name I'm thinking, and he'll just come back with something amazing.
Yeah.
So we're lucky. We're lucky to have him.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that. Another beer that I enjoyed, probably more down this path of like entry beers, is you had a barrel-aged lager. I forgot the name of the beer off the top of my head.
Passages.
I was only able to get it in Earl's stove.
I think that should be. We did Passages originally with Yeast of Eden. That's a kind of offshoot of Alvarado Street in Salinas. But we had brewed a lager, and then he came down. We brewed a saison, and we finished the lager with the saison. And so let that saison kind of emit some sort of character to it, and then we packaged that as a farmhouse lager.
Yes.
And then we took some of that farmhouse lager before we packaged it and barreled it down with both farmhouse cultures, and so it's barrel-aged Passages. And we're about to put that one back on tap actually once one of the beers that's on there now is kicked. So that one has received a lot of positive feedback from especially industry people. So that's a really nice beer.
Yeah, I'll have to get my keep my eye out for that one. Your brewery is very diverse on the beers that you make, and then even within the style you have different types of beer. What's left for you guys to do?
I think the barrel-aged strong ales. We have some of those coming out for our membership next month. We had started packaging or barreling those over the last year. Those typically take at least a year in barrel before they'll be ready. So starting starting next month, and then we'll have some more coming out at the later this year. But I think more regularly you'll see barrel-aged strong ales coming out.
And that's actually next week, not next
week. Yeah.
So Sunday, a week from tomorrow, we have member beers. So our membership this year has changed significantly from previous years. Previous years it was 750 milliliter format, all fruited sour beers. This year is the first year that we changed that. We lowered the cost of the membership from $300 to $200, and we adjusted the size format to 500 milliliter bottles.
All right.
And so you get 3 fruited sours and 3 imperial stout, barrel aged imperial stout, or other like barley wine or something like that instead, because that's again the shift in the market that we're seeing.
Right.
That's what people have been asking for, and so our first of the non-sour member beers are coming out next week. One of them is a barley wine we had brewed last year that we aged in Templeton rye whiskey barrels for 18 months, and then we conditioned it on toasted almonds and vanilla beans, and it tastes like biscotti dipped in whiskey. It's really nice. We actually have a bottle if you want to try it.
Wow.
Open one up here.
Sure.
I'll go grab some glasses
All right.
and come back.
So your membership isn't just like first crack at stuff. It's like specialty
It's
things.
select. Yeah, nobody else has access to these beers to take home that year, So the other one is another popular beer of ours is Vagabond Breakfast Stout, originally a collab with Aspen out of Virginia. But we barrel aged that one, so that one's coming out as well next weekend, and that's going to be 6 months aged in rye whiskey barrels, 6 months aged in apple brandy barrels, and then we added the coffee and the peanut butter to that, and that one's also really nice. But this one has a really nice depth of character because it had one time in the barrel.
I like that. I like that. I mean, I guess I'm a label guy. I like label.
Yeah, so we kind of went with the direction of like a wood carved art because of the barrel aged beers.
I don't know if it's good or bad, but my kids' sticker books have a bunch of beer labels on them.
There's some great art out there representing breweries. And,
I peel them off, and then they all. The good thing is they come in 4-packs, right? So you get to spread them around.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. So this is a barley wine. So it's almost like a super big malty brown beer.
Yeah. It feels very, very viscous. Feels very.
Yeah, it's very thick. It's there's a lot of body brought back to it from the vanilla, and the tannins from the oak from aging for a long period of time. It's very rich.
It is very rich.
And it's a great beer to share with friends. Well,
yeah, I would say that's actually my first entry into craft beer was my brother-in-law had a neighbor, and speaking of sharing, he had a fridge, and he just he only got a little bit, but we all sat around the table and we all shot the shit and hung out. I would say that's what this beer, real craft beer is what I think it's all about, right? It's sitting around drinking and talking about it, and
that has really driven the styles of what is trending in craft beer is the sharing culture.
Yeah.
The culture of shares.
Yeah.
Like we're gathering together, and it allows you to open bottles and cans that you wouldn't normally drink by yourself.
Yeah.
But if you only have to do a little bit of it, and you can share with friends and be like, you pour something, and it's just like, whoa, and then everybody's, the energy gets built, and people love that experience of like, look what I brought and I shared with these guys.
Yeah.
This is so cool that they love it.
Right.
And it just kind of builds from there, and it's driven like the hot trending styles are these big barrel aged stouts and barley wines, and now these smoothie sours that people are drinking. Like, I haven't talked to anybody who can really drink an entire can of those by themselves, but
Oh yeah, these are definitely.
But it's the wow factor of opening this crazy can in front of people and watching what comes out and the crazy flavors you get from it. That has really, the share culture has really driven the trends in beer, and it's really interesting.
Yeah. Outside seating, going away, sticking around, making it permanent.
As of right now, the alcohol and beverage is allowing us to have it through the end of the year.
Yeah. Just your philosophy. What do you guys think about it?
I think it's a must. I mean, we're in Southern California. We have great weather all the time.
Yep.
to be able to have outdoor seating, I think, is amazing, and we're going to try to keep it.
Yeah.
You know, whether or not the ABC allows us to do that,
Right.
Or if our city allows us to do that, that's a different question. But at least through the end of the year, at least through the end of the year, we're going to keep the outdoor seating.
Yeah.
You know, and I think too, with everything that's gone on with COVID, you know, giving people the option if they feel more comfortable sitting outside.
Yeah.
You know, you have the best of both worlds. They can sit inside in their tasting room or go sit outside under the sun.
I mean, drinking beer outside is like
The sun makes it
it's
taste
old
better.
and popular as beer itself.
For sure.
Yeah, and so I think if you can do it, you have to do it. We'll see. You know, still, even though that we're fully open inside, a lot of people will still go outside because
Yeah, the option.
yeah, it's an amazing experience to sit outside with your friends and drink beer.
Right. Yeah.
And up until COVID, you couldn't in a lot of these
Yeah.
tasting rooms.
For sure.
But you know, hopefully that they allow us to keep it, or we can figure out a way to work around and make it stay there.
Yeah, I'm hoping, you know, the bureaucrats see what's going on and are able to make changes. You know, I think it's for the better.
And I think that is happening out there.
No.
And it's good for business.
Right.
It's good for people.
Yeah. I think in general, this kind of place isn't a place you go and you get snockered, right? You come, you drink your beer, and you go home,
Yeah.
right? In an Uber, right?
There's other people you gotta watch out for, and that's why you have your staff trained properly and look for that. But you know, it's not a bar.
Yeah.
This is a social place.
For
This
sure.
is a place where you're not coming to drown your sorrows and get wasted.
Yeah.
Cause problems. This is a place to meet with your friends and family and have a good time, a responsible good time.
Yeah.
And then get home safely.
So you guys have a lot we're in an industrial park. Is that your regulars? Is that your during the week happy hour guys?
Yeah, we get a lot of guys from Haas, which they're local.
Yeah.
There's a sheet metal shop, you know, a couple doors down. They're in here a lot. We have Amazon
I was gonna say
being built
that.
right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
We're hoping that once that gets online,
We send a 4-pack to Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, we're gonna do a little card that says a Bezos special, and you get a discount.
For sure, man. Lifetime
it's a good neighbor
membership.
discount.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're excited about them moving in. I don't know when they're going to get online, but yeah, I mean, just in general, you know, being a small little brewery that started off in 1,500 square feet, you know, building into what we have now.
Yeah.
The community of Oxnard has been amazing. They've kind of rallied behind us and support us and made us their brewery. So
This is not an easy place to get to or find. It's easy to get to, I guess, if you know where to get to, where it's at.
Yeah.
So the people who come back over and over again are really the reason why we're still here.
Yeah.
So we're Oxnard's awesome. It's a lot of bad rap, but whatever. It still kills it out here.
For sure.
We weren't sure.
Yeah.
How a tasting room would do, kind of out in the middle of an industrial area.
Yeah.
Without any foot traffic and stuff, but we've been lucky to make it work.
Yeah.
And their new brewery, going in soon. Was that
Wagon Wheel.
On Wagon Wheel.
Okay.
So we're hoping that creates some synergy.
Yeah.
You got a red tandem, down the way. So there's Oxnard's a big town, but there's room for growth, and we're just excited to be a part of it.
At least they're spaced out well.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
If we get a neighbor brewery, we just work off each other. I don't see any issues with. I don't really see it as competition. It's more like
creating synergy.
Yeah, synergy.
Well, it's working in Ventura, right?
Yeah.
Downtown Ventura, right?
Yeah, those guys seem to be doing fine.
Yeah, for sure.
It creates more reason to come to a spot when you can go to another spot.
Yes.
Instead of coming here, it's like, let's stop by Casa, get a beer, and then go downtown Ventura, and then finish the day there.
Yeah.
Then there's more people hanging out in this area longer or somewhere else.
Yep. Cool. Well, thanks for your time, guys. Anything you want to, what's coming up? What's happening? Come drink your beer.
Yeah, we have releases every week.
I see that.
Usually 2 to 3 brands every single week.
Yep.
And then we'll have our 2022 membership. Will go on sale probably the beginning of September.
Right.
You know, if you want to try some new and interesting beers and you know, have access to purchase stuff that is being released a little bit earlier than everybody else, you know, check our Instagram and you know, join our membership for 2022.
Cool.
Other than that, if you haven't tried this,
give us a try.
come hang out.
Cool guys, thanks a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys. That was Eric and Michael from Casa Agria Specialty Ales in Oxnard, California. If there's someone that you want to see on the show and hear their story, please tag them. Please, you know, forward this episode to them so they know what I'm all about and what I do. I want to get every brewery here in Ventura County on the show because I know people want to hear their stories. Please like and subscribe and share. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you guys next time.